Hi Flosstube, it's Lynn, the Canadian Stitcher. I'm hoping that sound isn't going to interfere with my video. They're clearing snow out there with a grader, so I don't know if you can hear that or not. Weekly update and 2018 wrap up. So first of all, I want to say thank you again for subscribing, liking, commenting on my videos, and to all my new subscribers, welcome. I will be having a 250 subscriber giveaway. I wanted to get this video done so that the rest of the day I can just do whatever I need to get done. I'm going to run out and mail the 100 subscriber prize to Sandy B. And so she should be getting that either this end of this week or next week possibly. I also want to run to the dollar store to grab some frames because I do have quite a few FOs or finished objects that aren't framed yet. And I'll talk more about that in a second. In one of my videos, I said that I had started this one. This one's called Discovery. I had started that one on my birthday. I didn't actually start that. I started the Lynx on my birthday, and I started her on the first day of summer. That's my favorite day of the year, June 21st. So I wanted something special to mark that day. I'm going to do weekly progress, and we'll look at where in the world are you. My map has got, sorry, there's some sunlight reflecting there. I've got some new pins in my map. Sorry, I don't know how to edit, so that's going to have to stay in there until I figure that out. So I have Marty H in BC, Canada, it's British Columbia. The Stitching Diva 328 in Toronto, Ontario. Veronica B in Mexico City. Alessandra in Sudbury, Ontario. Amy S in Michigan City, Indiana. And Sue O in Central Maine, USA. I hope that's right. She put the abbreviation as MN, and I'm thinking it's Maine, but it could be Minnesota too. I'm sorry. If you're from the States, can you please put the whole name of the state, not just the initials, because I didn't remember to Google that before I came on here. Or Sue, just let me know which state you're in. Plans for next week. I'm going to do that after. I'm going to do the weekly progress first. So I did start the Dimensions Gold Winter Enchantress by Ruth Sanderson. That was a new start for December 21st. That was the first day of winter. This is on 16 count, and I started at the bottom, of course, like I always do. Bottom left. And got a bit more done. I think I showed this last week in my progress, but I got some of the green and the red filled in there. When I'm done stitching for the week, I take it off of the hoop or whatever and I roll them inside out. Okay. And December 24th, that was Christmas Eve, I did start the North Wind Owl. That's a Dimensions kit by Susan Burdett. And I got a little start done on that one. Just that little bit in the evening. That's mostly all half stitches, so it looks like I made more progress than I actually did. And then on Christmas Day, December 25th, I did start on the Heaven and Earth design, Panthera Leo Lion. And I realized something. The chart design and the artwork aren't necessarily the same person. I don't know if it's like that through all of Heaven and Earth, but the chart design is by Michelle Sayeta and the artwork is by Stephen Paul Carlson. So this one is 45 pages, and I am counting the bottom row, although they're only partial pages. They're more than half, so I'm counting them as if they were a full page. So I completed, I almost finished. I almost finished the first page, page 37. So I didn't highlight here where the way I normally do with all yellow. This is all 310 black. So there wasn't much sense in double highlighting all of this. And so I started highlighting up here where there's some more different colors coming through. And I did add something to my magnetic board. There's a little key that says New Beginnings as a scissor fob. Never used a scissor fob before, but I see other people using them and I think they're quite cute. Oh, and I also added a little pair of little tiny forceps in case it's, when you're going through quite a heavy piece of the thread in the back, sometimes it's hard to grab the needle and push it through, so I just use these little pliers. So I magnetize those and stuck them to my board too. For next week, sorry, December 31st, that's tomorrow. That's actually my X1 day at work. So every month we get what's called an X1 day, so we get a day off. We don't get paid, but we get one extra day off per week. So tomorrow's my X1 day, giving me a 4-day weekend. I love that. So I will be starting on Flight of the Lynx from Heaven and Earth. This was one of the first patterns I got with the Discovery one there. And this one is Michelle Sayada, again, artwork by Josephine Wall, 475 by 356. In case you haven't noticed, I like the lynx cat. So that one's really pretty, oh my goodness. And this one is going to give me a bit more color than what Discovery and the lion and the lynx are all kind of sort of in the same tone of color. So this one's got some blues in it. It's going to give me a little bit more color. And then for January 1st, I am going to be starting on, from Heaven and Earth also, the Treasure Hunt bookshelf. This is going to be a big, big project. This is 625 by 452, but I think it's the amount of color in this. It doesn't look like there's any huge big blocks of one color to be done anywhere. Looking forward to this. I've seen other people doing a stitch in time. I have that pattern, but I wanted to start on this one first. And this one's going to be a lot of color for me, so that's going to be interesting to add into my rotation. So I was going to share with you, do a 2018 wrap up, and I've seen several people are doing 2018 wrap ups. So I got this journal last year at Michael's, and what a beautiful day. So I kept a stitching journal for the entire year, more so on the weeks. I use the monthly parts, and I would put in there, let me just show you. Okay, I'll pick a simple page because there's other pages that aren't quite as simple as this. So this was Monday the 23rd of April. It was my week, the week of my birthday. So I was starting on the links, page 1. And I just kept track of it for the whole week. Of course, it's the links for the whole week. Sorry, I'm trying to keep Lucy down. Yeah, so in some of these I wrote some commentary, like what I was watching. I was watching season 2 of The Crown. I was watching New Girl. I can't remember the name of that other show. It's a perfect page for my brain right now. Focus. So this is a really pretty journal. I got it with a 45% off or 40% off coupon at Michael's. And so I bought another one for 2019. And I'll be doing a plans for 2019 video, so I'll show you my new journal in that one. So it has really nice pages in it. We are the dreamers of dreams. They're kind of like inspirational. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to put it away. I'm going to keep it. And I did write in some kind of funny little commentary. Sometimes I thought it was funny. You guys might not, but just funny different things that were happening. Sometimes at work, sometimes at home. Stuff about, I was having such a hard time with the seasonal affective. Last winter I was actually writing in the time of the day that the sun would rise and sunset after December. As the days were getting longer and longer, I was writing it down all the time. I mean, when's it going to be spring? So this one, this is such a pretty page. I might frame this one after. I think that's so pretty. It says, stars got tangled in her hair whenever she played in the sky. Leanna Taylor. I think I might frame that. That one's really pretty. Okay, so what for 2018, instead of showing you, you've already seen all my FFOs, my fully finished objects, my FOs, finished objects, and my whips. So there's not very much point in going through and showing you all of that again and saying this is what I'm working on, because that's in my whips video. So what I want to do is, I consider 2018 to be my year of learning cross stitch, learning about cross stitch. I'm always learning about life, as we all are day to day, but this was the year about learning probably more knowledge about cross stitch than I ever had in my whole life, of course. So I got introduced to YouTube. My son was in grade school and I didn't really understand what YouTube was. I was like, what is this? Like, people just post stuff on YouTube? I don't understand. So I never really watched it very much unless I heard of something that had gone viral. Sometimes I would check in and watch that. But I got more interested in it and was kind of introduced to it through makeup tutorials a couple years ago. And it wasn't cross-stitching at the time. I had my jewelry business, so a lot of my time was taken up by the jewelry business, so I wasn't really watching YouTube at all. And then when I picked up cross-stitch again last November, I went onto YouTube. I was looking for something very specific. How do I do something? And I discovered that there's this whole world of cross-stitching on YouTube, and a very nice little group within the YouTube community, that's the Flosstube community. And I was watching all these videos and learning all these different techniques and all these different things that you could do. I was really interested in that, so I've been watching it, and it was about probably 6 months ago. You don't knock over my camera. If my camera falls, it's because of him, and I told you I can't edit, so. Oh, he's such a attention seeker. So, I learned so much from all these different videos and was subscribed to, I don't even think I was subscribed to anybody. I would just type in the names and just watch different people, and kind of narrowed it down to a group that I like to watch. And then I kept wanting to make a Flosstube video, and I just didn't have the courage to do it. I'm a very self-conscious person. So that first video, and I know it's terrible, I shouldn't say that. It's not my best, but I was so nervous to do that video. That opening was about the 25th time that I tried to do it, and I thought, I just have to do this, get over it, post it, and then just see what happens. But I was very, very afraid. My hands were actually shaking. I was so nervous to post a video, and I'm not used to filming myself or having pictures taken of myself. So this Flosstube community is wonderful. So if any of you are out there and you're thinking, I'd like to make a video, but I don't think I could do it, I'm a perfect example of that. I mean, if you can get through that first one, get a couple of likes and a couple of people commenting and subscribing, it means so much. And we're all interested in seeing what everybody's doing. So that was the first thing I learned, is that there's a ton of cross-stitch information on YouTube. And then, it sounds so stupid, but I learned that you can actually work on more than one project at the same time. And I mean, it sounds like common sense, like take your socks off before you get in the shower, pull your pants down before you sit down to pee, right? Common sense. You can work on more than one project. I never did in the past. I always would work on one thing. Even if it was Christmas time and I was doing Christmas ornaments, I would be doing just Christmas ornaments for the month of November, December, whatever it was. And then put those away and then pull out the next project. And that's why it was so exciting for me to have it finish all the time, because it was like, yeah, I got to start something new. So once I don't even remember what I had stitched on. It was the blue doors that I had started stitching on, those blue doors kitchen pictures. And I still think I only did one of them at a time. And then I had taken one project to work on my lunch break. So then I had two projects going at the same time. And then as YouTube opened up to me, I found out you can do all kinds of things at the same time. And there's people who work on multiple gigantic pictures or just little tiny smalls. Like, it's just whatever you're interested in, right? So another thing I learned was doing a loop start, which I find really, really helpful, especially with the big projects, because there's so much floss on the backs of them. It makes them quite heavy, and doing a loop start helps to cut down on some of that weight of all the thread on the back. I like to organize all my little, I gotta sneeze, all my little things in the floss caddy. Excuse me. And the floss caddy. on my coffee table. So I have my highlighters, my scissors, my lint rollers, my extra needles, all of that kind of stuff on a caddy in front of me, and I can throw everything in there. And then about once a month, I guess I keep pitching stuff in there. I'll clean out the whole thing and tidy everything up, get it more organized. I used to use the smaller magnetic boards, the little ones. And then when I started cross stitching again, I was in Staples for something else, and I thought, wouldn't it be like it'd be so easy to use one of these bigger magnetic boards, and then I can fit more than one page on if I'm working more than one page. Those little magnetic boards are quite fine, and they come with, you know, magnet strips and a stitch counter. So that got me started with the magnetic boards, but now I prefer to use the bigger ones. I don't think I'd go much bigger than that because I put it on the arm of the chair when I'm stitching. And then I've told you that in my tips and tricks. I magnetize everything. I put magnets on everything and I just stick it to my board. Another thing I learned was double highlighting. So highlighting with yellow the stitches that need to be done on a page or a specific part of the pattern, and then highlighting with pink or orange afterwards. The stitches are complete. And when I get to the end of a page, pretty much the whole thing is colored in orange. That looks ridiculous, but I mean, it helps me to focus in on where the stitches are. The first full coverage I was doing was that early spring with the little birds, and I hadn't done that for, I think it was just the first page. And when I got to the last couple of stitches that needed to be filled in, I couldn't see them on the chart with all that yellow on there. And so the yellow is in contrast to the pink and the orange, so it does show up much better. So that was a good tip. Don't know who I learned that from, and if I'm not crediting you with the tips, thank you, whoever put this out on their Flosstube. This has been really great, all of the stuff that I've learned. I learned that 1, 2, 3 Stitch from the US is my preferred supplier. I have not had any problems with any of the orders I've placed with them. I've placed some very big orders and some very small orders, and everything's always really good. I like the Thread Magic as the floss conditioner, and in the beginning I was only using it on, I think, the early spring. I think I had done the first, that's what happened. I did the first page, and then my son gifted me one for a Christmas present last year, and I used it on the second page, and you could see an obvious difference between the first page and the second page with the Thread Magic thread conditioner on it, the way the stitches laid down. They're a bit more fluffy, like a bit more, they stand out a bit more with the the Thread Magic on them. So I really enjoy using that, and I use it for all of my projects now, big or small. I also learned how to use a laying tool. I don't have one here, but I mean, you hold it in your left hand, and as you do your thread to poke back down, you just kind of roll like that. So I did learn how to do that, and I'm actually using a paintbrush as my laying tool because it's long enough that I can hold it in my hand and then reach to do with my other hand as I'm laying the stitches down. I don't use a laying tool for everything, usually just the lighter colors like white and the ecru or beige. I learned how to use Q-snaps and scroll rods, and I learned about grime guards. The Q-snaps, I had a little tiny one, probably a 6x6, right? And the first time I tried to use it, and I put my fabric on there and tried to stitch, and it was so loose. And I thought, well, this thing is useless, right? And I threw it in the drawer in the craft cupboard and never tried one again until I saw it on YouTube. And when you actually put the piece of fabric down to protect the work and then put the other, I don't know what they're called, I don't want to say dowel, but the other piece of the plastic that goes over top of the actual frame, it holds it in there better. So then all you have to do is kind of roll it to tighten it up. So I really do like the Q-snaps. I don't mind working on the scroll rods, but I do find them a little bit harder to pack up at the end of the day or put away when I'm working on a project. But I do like those too, and I'm sure I'm going to learn more. I learned it is possible to finish a full coverage project. I had gotten some probably 10 years ago when I had started stitching again. And when I got them, I opened them, and I was like, how? This is not even possible. How would you do this? This doesn't even make any sense. Like, you're stitching every single thing. So from YouTube, of course, again, I went on and just was watching other people, and they made it look so easy. And it's not that hard. It's challenging because it takes a lot of patience, and it's going to be a project that you're going to work on for a long period of time. But if you have other things in your rotation, and I set myself up on a weekly schedule, even if I'm not finished working on that one for the week, I want to stitch more on it, I still put it away and pull out the next one. And so in my journal, there was a lot a lot of days that were early spring, early spring, early spring, early spring from working on that one so much. I kind of would do it for a week and then bring in something else, work it a week, bring in something else. So I wasn't really getting that bored with it, but it is possible. And obviously I'm interested in taking on the challenge of doing some even larger ones than that one. That one was only 16 pages, so I thought that was the easiest way for me to start. It was a small full coverage, right? And I also find that creating a stitch map is helpful when you're doing full coverage. I think I showed this last time. I do a stitch map of the number of the pages and then what pages below it, and then as I go through and checking always to make sure that I'm on the correct page beside it and above that one. I think if you didn't do that, it would be disastrous if you stitched the wrong page. I don't want to think about that. I like to do the 3x3 border, so as I'm doing my calculations, I work in a 3-inch border the entire way around, so adding 6 inches top and bottom. And I find that they fit into the scroll, not the scroll rolls, the Q-snaps better if you have a bigger border around there. If it's a 1-inch or 2-inch, I'm finding that to get right to the edge, I usually have to start it on a hoop and then switch it over to the Q-snap once I've got some work done on it. And I had talked in, I think it was maybe my first video or second one, I talked about needle minders and how I thought they were such a great idea. And see, pretty much everybody uses needle minders to hold on their fabric. And I had said that I had gotten one, and I put the needle minder on the front with a magnet on the back, and I set it down on my magnetic board, and when I lifted it up, it messed everything up on my magnetic board. So I was like, I like them, they're so pretty, and people have such great collections of them, but I was thinking I can't use them. But I could use them on my magnetic board to hold all my, because I just use these little magnets that come with the magnetic board, or I use, you know, these really super strong ones, but a cute little needle minder might be a nice addition to my magnetic board, so I am going to be looking for some of those. I'm going to be, those FOs that I have and not have framed yet, I'm going to be using just really inexpensive frames on those. Framing is really expensive. That Trick or Treat Cats that I showed in my finished object, that was over $100, and that was my own frame that I took in with it. But to cut the glass and do the mounting on it, it was over $100 just for glass and mounting. I may take a framing course in the future. I don't really have room for another hobby in my house, so what I'm going to be doing is buying more inexpensive frames that already have the glass with them, and paying the frame shop to do the mounting for me and the actual, you know, framing. And then I'm going to use that money that I save from, you know, getting everything done in really nice frames from the framer, is my art pieces, my full coverage and my Heaven and Earth designs. I'll put the money to better framing on those that I call my art pieces, and not worry so much about the little things, you know, like that goose. It doesn't really matter if it has a really nice frame or not. It's only going to be up for, you know, 6 weeks or so. Pam from Pam's Crafty Corner, she talked about snag nabbits in one of her videos, and I got a snag nabbit and I absolutely love it for pulling any little pieces of stitches that come up, or sometimes when you end off and a little bit of your thread ends up coming back up through, you can nab that snag, stick it back through. Amy Loves Toads. I don't know which video it was. I commented on her video. She was showing how to, when you're doing a long line, either top or bottom or left or right or wherever you stitch, that if you're doing, like for the lion when I was starting it, sorry, this is all black. So to come across here, normally I would have counted and recounted and counted and recounted. And Amy said, do 9 stitches, like 9 half stitches, and then cross the 10th stitch, and then do 9 half stitches and cross the 20th stitch, and then do 9 and cross the 30th stitch. So you don't have to keep counting every single time. I think it ended up being 81 stitches across that I went, and that would have driven me bonkers trying to count that and recount that. So that was one of the best tips I've ever heard. I've never thought of that. I also learned how to use a magnifier. I had to with that angel and the Celtic done on linen. I'm as old as dirt, so Okay, not that old, but my vision is affected by aging, and so I'm finding it really difficult to see in lower light. In the summer, I worked on that one. I had no problem at all. When I have normal sunshine light, it's not a problem, but it's in the evening with the lamps that I'm having so much trouble seeing it. I get frustrated with it, and so I've kind of put those two down for now, and thought I would work on them on weekends, but what I'm pretty much doing is doing my weekly rotation, so I might not even pick those two back up again until we have normal light in the evenings, you know, when I get home from work or on the weekends. So I like having small, tiny, medium, and large and extra large projects all in a rotation on a weekly basis. I tried that daily thing and that didn't work for me. I like to see lots of progress. I feel satisfied in my stitching and feel like I've gotten a good week's worth of work done if I can see some good progress. So that's how I prefer to do it. When I'm getting where I'm close to lots of finishes, that's where I did multiples within the same week. I only had a few stitches, you know, not even a few stitches, but maybe just back stitching one area on one picture, and I had left it, and so then I picked up kind of and went through and finished a whole bunch all within the same week. So that was good. But other than that, I don't want to say I'm going to stitch a different thing every day or even two things on the same day. I need to set realistic goals for myself too. I learned that. So a weekly rotation of something is good. And if I'm really feeling like I need to get a finish, then I would work on a small and just keep working on it until it's finished, and then I can go back to some of my bigger ones that take longer to finish. I learned not to take my cross stitch to a dry cleaners to get them cleaned. I used to do that all the time. I never had any problem. They would clean them. All the hoop marks would be gone if there were anything on, you know, from leaving a hoop on it or any lines or anything like that. I never had a problem. And then when I took in the fall some pictures into the frame shop, the lady in the frame shop was like, don't ever do that. And they did not do a very good job of cleaning them. I will not ever go back to that same dry cleaners again. They actually looked worse when I picked them up than when I had dropped them off. So I'm pretty disappointed with that. So the lady at the frame shop, and I'm going to give her a shout out after. I'm going to take some stuff in this week. So I'm going to ask them if I can tell you what their shop name is, or maybe even show a picture of it on my channel. She taught me or showed me how you wash it, hand wash with a little bit of dish soap, and then roll it up in a towel to dry it, or to get most of the moisture out. Turn it upside down on an ironing board, put a dry towel over top, and then just iron it until all the moisture is out of it. So that's what I've done with the early spring picture and the country pantry, and it turned out really well. So no more dry cleaning for me. I learned about world geography and the northeastern parts of the states have got a lot of cross stitchers. I don't have really that many in the southern states, so let's see if we can get some more. There's lots in the northeast. I think I like to know where I want to go on holidays when I take a holiday. I did try parking. I did not like it. I tried working in a column, and I don't know what it is. My brain doesn't see things in columns. My brain sees things from left to right. And I'm a linear thinker, so I think from A to B to C. So working in columns was really challenging for me. Even if I'm doing just a tiny little piece of it in columns, it was turned around in my brain. So I did try it. I didn't like that for myself, but anybody who does, that's wonderful. And I did try the parking, and after about 3 different threads hanging there, I was like, I don't like this. I'm not going to keep doing this. I don't know how you guys do it. It's just amazing to have all those threads hanging down and calculate all that in your head. I just do left to right, left to right, left to right. Keeping it simple. And I did try using the waist knots, so where you bring the thread underneath and then bring it up and tie a knot to finish it, and so you don't have to flip it back over and run your needle. And I didn't like that either. That didn't work for me. But I'm willing to try new things. That's the point, is that you guys tell us stuff on Flosstube, and then I can try them, and if they work for me, I got some really great information. And if they don't work for me, well, I learned that I prefer to do it a different way, or whatever. It doesn't, like, it's still great to put all that information out there, and anybody who can do these other techniques and it works for them, that's great. There's just different ways of doing things and different ways that our brains work, and mine's left to right. I also learned that I'm very easily enabled to want to stitch everything that I see everybody else doing. And I do live on a budget, so I'm going to have to keep that in check. The one thing from that, though, is when I saw people working on that long dog sampler Death by Cross Stitch, I thought it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I was so amazed by that. In the dark black, or the black with the dark blue, with the lighter colors of blue. I chose a lighter color blue myself. I don't have it handy here, but it's going to be in when 2019 starts. So, and then Ingeborg, a stitch too far, is she? I'm sorry, I forgot your channel name. A Stitch Too Far, I think it is. She's doing it in a bright pink, I think. I left her a comment this morning and asked her what color she's using. Not that I'm going to do my long dog in that because I've already got the floss for it, but really beautiful in a different color tone than the dark black and blues that I've seen. So I really like it. It looks beautiful. So when I'm watching Flosstube, I have to just keep it in check of going, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to stitch that too. I want to stitch everything. And then go into my craft room, and I have so much stuff. I have more than I could ever complete in a lifetime. So I just keep working on what I've got, but I am going to have to treat myself sometimes this year and get some new things. So 2018, the wrap up for the year is that this was the year of learning cross stitch and a tremendous amount about cross stitch. 2019, my objective for the year is content. So learning more about YouTube, being able to make better videos, being more organized, remembering everything, like saying if it's a kit, who the kit is by, who the artist is, what the size of the fabric is, what the count of the fabric is, all of that kind of stuff. I just get so overwhelmed with all of this here. I need to get things organized and be more thorough in my descriptions of what I'm working on. Oops. And then another thing for 2019 is not only content, but content. So what I want, and I have been in the last year of just being content with where I am and what I'm doing, and not, thinking about too far in the future or back into the past or that kind of thing. Just being in the moment and content with what I'm doing. So I'm really enjoying the cross stitching. I can't believe that I was away from it for 10 years. I feel like I wasted a lot of my time in that year, but I was running a jewelry business, and so just want to feel content. And in this last while, I have been very content with where I am and what I'm doing, enjoying the cross stitch. I'm sorry about this cat. If he's that annoying, I don't know what to do, because this is my son's old room, one of my son's old room, and the door doesn't shut properly, and if I tried to lock him out of the room, I don't know. He would find a way to open the door, I'm sure, or he'd be just causing a big disturbance out in the hallway. I have tried putting him in a room on like a timeout if I had company here or something like that, and he was bugging people. And then he pooped on my bed. Yeah. As punishment to me for putting him in a room and closing the door. So I don't want to do that to him, but I don't want to annoy people into not watching the videos either. So he's just kind of a part of my life. He's all-inclusive, except at night when I sleep. I don't allow him in my room at all, especially when I'm sleeping, because he does not. What he's doing in this video here is what he does to me all night long. Bug and want attention and nap for 5 minutes and then ask for attention, and he's just that kind of cat. So if you really don't like it, maybe leave a constructive criticism comment in the box below, and if nobody cares, just thumbs up, whatever. We all, like a lot of us, have pets, and it's life. I do have a new journal for 2019, so I'm going to be showing that and showing some of my plans. Let's see, I have to go into my craft room. I have a bin there with some of the things that I'm thinking of for new starts. I know for sure I'll be doing the 2 HAEDs for starts. I also have 3 more samplers that I want to do, including the Death by Cross Stitch. I have the companion piece to these 2. I have the spring one, and I'm planning on getting the summer one. So those will be some new starts. And I have some smalls that I want to do. And this year, I told you in my last video I didn't put up a tree. And then I was watching Just Keep Stitching, Pam and Stephanie, and they showed their Christmas tree at the end with all the cross stitch ornaments on it. And I think for next year I'm going to want to do that. Even if I just do a small tree, it looks so pretty with just cross stitch ornaments on it. I mean, I've put my cross stitch ornaments on the trees before, but never all in just that one thing. So I'm thinking of doing that for next year. It might actually motivate me to, I don't know what, get more into the Christmas thing and maybe start doing some ornaments in November and December. Maybe try doing one a day or something like that, and do a cross stitch tree because they inspired me. It looked really pretty. I'm going to be doing an FFOs, or fully finished objects, the baby edition. So when I have 2 sons, and when I was pregnant and when they were little, mostly when I was pregnant, because I couldn't actually work very long when I was pregnant with the first one, and the second one was a complicated pregnancy too, and I was taken off work pretty much almost immediately. So I had a lot of time for cross stitching, and I thought they were going to be babies forever, and we would all, make use of all of these blankets and afghans and bibs and everything forever. And I have so much of it that is in brand new condition. We never even ended up using it for them. I think some of the things I decorated the nursery with on the walls, but I have a whole big pile, and I have several samplers with their names and birth dates. So I'll be showing an FFOs, the baby edition. And I want to also do a HAED parade. So I did, of course, this last year. Okay, these cats are actually going to get into a fight here. I did purchase quite a few HAED charts when they were on sale, and I had one person say that they'd like to see them. I'm always interested. I've looked up in the search engine for HAED charts. I'd like to see different charts that people have. Sometimes it inspires me to look a little deeper into the HAED charts, and they're always coming out with new ones. So I think that might be interesting to do a HAED parade. So for now, I'll just say Happy New Year. I might do a video on the 1st. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If I feel like doing a video on the 1st, I'll do one wishing you. If not, I'll just say Happy New Year now, and all the best for 2019. Bye.